There's a certain wisdom in silence. Most people think progress comes from noise, from constantly pushing, arguing, convincing, or rushing. But life has a way of teaching us that some of the greatest victories come when we learn to stay quiet, to listen, and to let the natural order of things take place. Silence is not weakness, it is power under control. It's the discipline of holding back when the world demands you to react. And in that space of quietness, everything begins to align and come natural when you choose silence. You're not just avoiding words, you're opening yourself to wisdom. Most people are so busy trying to be heard that they miss what life is trying to tell them. Think about it. When you're silent, you hear more than voices. You hear tone, intention, emotion. You notice the pauses that reveal uncertainty, the enthusiasm that reveals passion, the doubt that reveals insecurity. Silence sharpens your awareness. It allows you to catch the details that others overlook. In silence, you also learn to listen to yourself. Many people drown out their own inner voice with noise from the outside world. They scroll, they argue, they compare, and then they wonder why they feel lost. But when you stay quiet, your thoughts rise to the surface. You begin to separate what's important from what's just distraction. You start recognizing your values, your strengths, and even the areas where you need to grow. The marketplace speaks, but not always in loud ways. It whispers trends, signals shifts, and rewards those who are paying attention. Relationships speak too, not always in words, but in consistency, in effort, in actions. And your own soul speaks every day, reminding you where you belong and what matters most. All of this can only be understood if you master the art of listening, and listening requires silence. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. It's the stillness where lessons reveal themselves. Those who learn to be quiet are the ones who truly hear, and those who hear clearly are the ones who make wise decisions. When you stop needing to fill every space with words, you make room for wisdom to fill you instead. Patience is one of the rarest virtues in our fast-paced world, but it's the very soil in which real growth takes place. Nothing great in life happens overnight. A tree doesn't shoot up to the sky the day after you plant it, and a seed doesn't bloom the moment it's in the ground. Growth has a rhythm, a season, a process, and the soil of patience is what allows it to take root and flourish. When you learn to be patient, you begin to respect timing. You understand that forcing something before its season is like picking a fruit that's not ripe. It looks good from the outside, but inside it's bitter, and it robs you of the sweetness that only comes with time. Patience teaches you to trust that life has its own timing, that what's meant to grow will grow if you keep watering it with consistency, effort, and faith. Most people fail not because they can't work, but because they can't wait. They get restless. They give up too soon. They abandon the process just before the breakthrough. Patience is the discipline that keeps you steady when results don't show up right away. It keeps you grounded when others are panicking. It keeps you moving when discouragement whispers, "It's not working." Think about the farmer. He plants, he waters, he waits. He doesn't dig up the seed every day to check if it's growing. He trusts the process of nature. That's the same trust you must have in your own journey. The career you're building, the habits you're forming, the relationships you're nurturing, they don't blossom instantly. But if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the work in silence, growth becomes inevitable. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things faithfully while allowing time to do its part. It means understanding that progress is happening even when you don't see it. The roots are growing underground before the stem rises above it. The foundation is forming long before the building stands tall. And when you embrace patience, you no longer worry about the delay, you trust that the longer it takes, the stronger it will be. Silence has a way of building a kind of strength that no amount of shouting or proving can ever give you. It teaches you the discipline of holding back, of not needing to justify yourself to everyone, of letting your actions do the talking. Confidence doesn't come from announcing your greatness. It comes from quietly knowing it. And silence allows you to carry that inner certainty without the need for constant validation. Weakness often hides behind noise. Insecure people feel the urge to explain themselves, to defend every move, to seek approval at every turn. But the strong person doesn't need to broadcast. They know who they are, they know where they're going, and they trust that their results will speak louder than any words could. That kind of quiet strength is magnetic. It draws respect without demanding it. When you practice silence, you're not running from confrontation, you're mastering it. You're learning that restraint is sometimes the greatest power. You don't need to win every argument, because true confidence doesn't depend on proving someone else wrong. You don't need to announce every plan, because real strength doesn't seek attention. It seeks results. Think of a mountain. It doesn't roar, it doesn't move. It doesn't need to explain its presence. Yet everyone who sees it knows its power. Silence gives you that same presence. It anchors you, keeps you steady, and allows people to recognize your strength without you ever having to say a word. And here's the secret. Silence not only builds strength in how others see you, but also in how you see yourself. When you learn to be quiet, you hear your own inner voice more clearly. You recognize your worth, you trust your judgment, and you become less shaken by the opinions of others. That's where confidence is born, not from applause, not from approval, but from the steady, silent assurance that you are capable, prepared, and ready. So remember, the strongest voices in the room are not always the loudest. True strength and real confidence are built in the silence and then revealed in the results. Opportunities rarely show up in the middle of panic. When you're frantic, when you're rushing, when your mind is scattered, you miss the very doors that could change your life. Panic clouds judgment. It makes you react instead of respond. And in that state, you're more likely to grab the wrong thing or let the right thing slip by. Calmness, on the other hand, sharpens your vision. It allows you to see clearly, to think strategically, and to recognize openings that others are too distracted to notice. When life gets difficult, most people let fear take the driver's seat. They scramble, they overreact, they make desperate moves. But the person who remains calm stands out in the chaos. Calmness is magnetic. People trust the one who doesn't lose composure when everyone else is breaking down. That's why opportunities flow toward the calm. Employers trust them. Partners believe in them. Friends lean on them. While others panic and miss the chance, the calm person catches it because their mind is steady enough to recognize it. Think about the stock market. It rewards patience and punishes panic. When everyone rushes to sell in fear, the calm investor quietly buys. When the storm passes, the calm are the ones standing on higher ground. Life works the same way. Opportunity often hides behind uncertainty, and only the calm can see it for what it truly is, a chance in disguise. Calmness also attracts people. Nobody wants to follow a leader who panics. Nobody wants to build with someone who loses their head in the storm. But everyone is drawn to the person who stays composed, who keeps perspective, who doesn't let fear write their story. Those are the people who get offered positions, who get trusted with responsibilities, who are handed doors others never even knew existed. Staying calm doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're powerful enough to control yourself when it matters most. It means you don't allow fear to dictate your actions. You hold your ground, you breathe, you think, and then you act with clarity. That's when opportunities come, not when you chase them with desperation, but when you stand steady enough for them to find you. Silence has a way of bringing you back into harmony with the natural rhythm of life. Look at nature, nothing in it is rushed, yet everything gets accomplished. The sun rises and sets without a sound. Rivers flow steadily without noise or announcement. Seasons change without asking for permission. There is a quiet order, a natural flow, and when you learn to embrace silence, you begin to move with that rhythm instead of fighting against it. Most people are in a constant struggle with life. They push, they force, they demand results on their timetable. But nature doesn't respond to force, it responds to alignment. When you practice silence, you begin to notice that life has its own pace. You start realizing that not everything is meant to happen at once. Some things must mature. Some doors open when you're ready, not when you're impatient. Silence allows you to step back, breathe, and let the current of life guide you rather than drain yourself trying to swim against it. There's a peace that comes from this alignment. Instead of being consumed with anxiety about the future, you begin to trust the process. Instead of doubting every step, you let the path unfold. Silence teaches you that you don't need to control every outcome. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go and allow life's natural design to take over. Think about how much stress is created when we resist the flow. We argue with reality, we complain about timing, we compare our season with someone else's. But when you choose silence, you no longer waste energy on resistance. You accept that your journey has its own season, your growth has its own timing, and your harvest will come when it's due. Just like winter eventually gives way to spring, your silent preparation eventually gives way to visible progress. Silence aligns you with the truth that life is not about rushing or forcing. It's about moving with grace, discipline, and faith. And when you flow with nature's rhythm, things begin to happen more naturally. The right people cross your path. The right opportunities arrive at the right time. The right doors open without you needing to pound on them. That's the gift of silence. It puts you in tune with the greater order of life. And in that alignment, everything begins to come together as it should. So, my friend, don't underestimate the power of silence. Stay quiet when the world tempts you to speak out of fear. Be still when everything around you is rushing. Learn to wait, to listen, to observe. Because in that silence, life has a way of bringing everything to you naturally, steadily, and in perfect time.